Windsor Castle, United Kingdom Secret Room, July 8, 2022.
The room was white, sterile, without windows or history. At the center of the space, under a single spotlight, Donald Trump sat with his arms crossed and jaw clenched. Across from him, Queen Elizabeth II, seated with the stillness of centuries, held a small sealed envelope with a crimson wax stamp. There was no crown, no formality, just the forces of history. "You didn't come here just for a visit, did you, Donald?" the Queen asked in a voice that pierced the silence. Trump responded with his characteristic cold smirk. "You know why I'm here. The world is unraveling. You and I both know the storm's been brewing for decades." Elizabeth looked at him, eyes sharp as glass. "And you think you should be the one to hold the umbrella?" Trump leaned forward. "I don't want the umbrella. I want the blueprint." The Queen reached into her coat pocket and placed the sealed envelope on the table. "This is Protocol 7, written by my father after the Second World War, only to be opened if the global order was at risk of collapse." Trump didn't blink. "And it is." Elizabeth nodded. "That's why you're here." There was a moment of tension. A storm of past, present, and future hanging over two aging figures who had shaped the world in very different ways. Then, she slid the envelope across the table. "Don't open it here. Not yet. Wait until you're alone, and only in the place where no flags fly." On board a private jet, midair over the Atlantic, Trump sat in silence. The envelope rested on the tray table in front of him. His advisor, Jacob Rayner, asked quietly, "What did she give you?" Trump stared at the seal. "A map, not of places. Of power." Jacob frowned. "Do you trust her?" Trump didn't look up. "I trust the system she's trying to prevent from collapsing." Outside, lightning cracked through the clouds. Inside, Trump's eyes burned with calculation. In a quiet room within MI6, red lights blinked as intelligence officers scrambled. The Queen's unexpected meeting had set off alarm bells. One analyst looked at the map and whispered, "If he opens that protocol, the American presidency may never be the same." The envelope was finally opened at 3:04 a.m., inside a cold bunker in Virginia. Inside, there was no weapon, no threat, just a phrase written in Old English ink. "The throne is not a seat, it's a shadow, and it must move." Attached was a small silver ring, engraved with symbols predating the Church of England. Trump put it on his finger. "So it begins," he muttered. Back at Mar-a-Lago, Trump summoned his inner circle. The mood was tense. This wasn't campaign planning, this was a new kind of war room. He pointed to a blank map. "We're not running a campaign this time. We're activating a legacy. The legacy of a crown ... with no country." 3 days after returning from the United Kingdom, Donald Trump entered a secure facility beneath Arlington, Virginia. The silver ring given to him by the Queen opened a biometric vault that hadn't been accessed in over 70 years. Inside, he found documents marked with a British royal cipher, encrypted logs, and a thick leather-bound book titled, "The Monarch's Last Recourse." At the bottom of the first page was a sentence in Latin, "Fiat Umbra Imperi." The Queen, aware of her limited time, summoned her most trusted aide, Sir Alfred Merton. "If he decodes the second message, he will find the location of the Great Table," she said. "And if he reaches it," Merton asked, "then history changes, perhaps forever." She coughed, covered her mouth with a handkerchief spotted with crimson. "Time is no longer my ally." Hidden beneath the Appalachian Mountains lies a chamber unknown to most governments, the Concord Vault. Trump and his advisor Jacob Rayner descended into it with the ring, the book, and a code cracked from the Queen's cipher. What they found was beyond classified. A table with 13 chairs, each inscribed with ancient European royal symbols. A vault of documents detailing pacts between the British Crown and early American founders. A message carved into stone: "He who returns with the seal shall reign not over land, but over fate." A digital interface inside the chamber asked a single question: "Do you serve the crown or command its shadow?" Trump stared at it for a moment, then answered, "Neither. I reshape what's left." The floor lit up, the ring pulsed. Something had been activated. Back in London, MI6 intercepted a signal from the Appalachians. The Queen's final contingency, codenamed Operation Lionheart, was now in effect. Sir Alfred, visibly disturbed, looked at the signal logs. He found the table. Then what happens now? Asked the agent. Now, the monarchy vanishes from the visible world. Trump convened a midnight meeting. We're not running against Biden anymore. We're running against history. His staff looked confused. This isn't about red or blue. It's about gold, the hidden kind. He unveiled a map of ancient lines across the US and Europe. We now hold what even the Windsors feared, the legacy of shadow governance. A letter arrived at Balmoral Castle 2 days later, addressed in the Queen's handwriting. It read only one sentence: "You have the torch now. Don't set the world on fire." She passed away 3 days later. As the nation mourned the Queen's passing, Trump stood silently in a chapel in West Virginia. He wore the ring on his right hand, hidden under a glove. "History will never tell this part," he whispered, "but it will obey it." Outside, thunder cracked again. Not from the skies, but from the system awakening beneath them. 2 months after the Queen's death, an unusual pattern began to emerge in the political media. Donald Trump's poll numbers were climbing. Silently. News networks, despite their bias, couldn't ignore it. Every town hall, every brief speech he gave, echoed a strange new energy. Not populist, prophetic. He speaks like he already won, said a CNN analyst. Like he's speaking from above history, not from within it, added a BBC correspondent. What they didn't know, Trump was using knowledge from the royal archives, not policy, prophecy. In an underground server in Langley, a digital alert was triggered. A file labeled Scepter was accessed for the first time since 1981. The file referenced a global contingency agreement between the US and the British Crown, activated only upon the Queen's death and in case of systemic global instability. Inside it, the name Donald John Trump was embedded. Not written recently, but inserted in 1993. Who the hell planted that name 30 years ago? The CIA analyst muttered. Someone who already met him, before he became him. Trump began appearing in unexpected places. A silent visit to a Masonic lodge in Edinburgh. A closed-door meeting with a descendant of Churchill. A 2 a.m. stroll inside the Library of Congress's sealed archive. Wherever he went, doors opened without being knocked. Eyes lowered, old symbols acknowledged him, as if something older than politics was recognizing him. "He's not running a campaign anymore," said one White House advisor. "He's walking a path that was built before we were born." On a stormy night in Mar-a-Lago, a secret ritual took place. 13 individuals, unknown to even the Secret Service, gathered around a circular table. Each one placed an object: a coin, a crest, a document, a lock of hair, a chess piece. And finally, the silver ring. Trump, dressed in black, placed both hands on the table. "I do not seek a throne, but I will not allow the world to be ruled by ghosts." In early spring, Trump officially announced his candidacy. But this time, it felt different. There was no flashy slogan, no red hats, no fireworks. Just a single phrase on a black backdrop. "I remember the promise." The crowd was silent. Then slowly, hands rose, not in cheers, but in salute. Not political, ceremonial. He crowd was silent. Then slowly, hands rose, not in cheers, but in salute. Not political, ceremonial. The world didn't know yet, but something ancient had returned. As dawn rose over Washington, D.C., a figure stood on the rooftop of the Jefferson Memorial. It was Jacob Rayner. They thought this was a return to power. It's not. It's a shift in reality. Behind him, a jet soared eastward, carrying Trump to a destination unknown. Not to campaign, not to conquer, but to continue something. Started centuries ago in shadows, now marching into the light.